am going to try to be brief because he's the man of the hour here, not me. I just want to say, first of all, we want to give all thanks to God because we started this with prayer and moving forward on faith and perseverance, and he never let us down. He gave us divine appointments, shined light on the dark paths, and opened every door we needed to be opened. We want to say thank you to everyone who participated, who walked the halls and sacrificed. Thank you, grassroots. Thank you so much to our House sponsor, Representative Rick Miller, who could not be here today, but his love. And to Courtney, his chief of staff, who helped us navigate a lot. We appreciate it. Also to Representative Drew Darby, who, when Paul and I sat down with him and said, we might have 100 people wanting to testify, and he said, bring it! Yes! Everybody, I want to hear from everybody. And thank you to our Lieutenant Governor, so much, appreciate it. Thank you to my husband who took care of the home front so I could be over here under this dome. Thank you so much. I want to say thank you so much to Governor Greg Abbott. Big, amazing, bold step. On January 8th of 2016, he supported the Convention of States in a very big way. And his spine of steel grew, and we just thank you. You are part of the grassroots, sir. You will forever be part of the grassroots. Cohort in all the craziness, co-partner in Liberty, Paul Hodson, my co-director. Thank you. We love you guys. We are a small, tiny little cog in this wheel. It's all about you guys. And we salute you, and we could never have done it without you and all the tens of thousands of people each one of you represents by being here today. So, thank you. With that, I'll give it to Paul.
All righty. Thank you so much. I want to say my first thanks are to my wife, Michelle. And I'm going to tell a very, very quick story because it involves the governor. And it was a crazy night, a year ago, May, when we were dealing with the legislative priorities, and I got a text saying we'd been pulled as legislative priority. And I said, we're heading to bed early that night, we couldn't. And I said, I've got to get this notice to the governor's office. And she said, you always say that. I have never said that before, but she was right, because what she was saying was, there's always something. And there is always something. And with this, there is always something to do, and it's to take liberty back. And that's what we're doing. We appreciate it so much. I'm most fortunate in the Convention of States because I have great legislators in my own district. Yes. Representative Dwayne Burns, he was on board, and he was actually our very, very first person we met here in Austin in 2015 and sat down with. But he said, I know it's not a constitutional convention. I remember that conversation. And he was on board, and of course, my Senator Brian Birdwell. Appreciate them so much. I want to say something about the co-founder of the Convention of States Project and the president of Citizens for Self-Governance, Mark Meckler, and his servant leadership. And I want to explain to you what happens here behind the scenes a little bit, because he's probably been involved with Texas a little more than some other states. We've had quite a few conversations, and then Tamara and I will sleep on it, pray on it. We'll come back the next day and say, you know what? I think we want to do something different. And Mark has always said, I trust you guys. I trust you guys. And that is what Tamara and I have tried to do with you. We trust you. The grassroots are smart. They're creative. You know how to get things done. And we want to know that you are already empowered to do that. So this is really about you, the grassroots. It's the people's house here. This is the people's movement. And we appreciate it. We have some things that we like to do with our grassroots who are outstanding, and we have a couple of people we want to recognize. We're going to call some folks up. Stand up here on the steps with us. Tom Dowdy. Cassidy. Brent Dunclaw. And Angie Turner. I'm going to hand this off to Mark for a moment to kind of explain what this award is, and then we're going to recognize these great patriots.
So the most important thing that this movement is built on you folks, the grassroots. Right? That's what this movement has been about since day one. It's what I'm about as an activist. It's what Texas has been built on. Just a few grassroots activists started this here in Texas, and now there's 126,000 of you. And the most important thing no other state's done that. The most important thing about that is that there are people who step up and serve. There's 126,000 who chose to do that. Some give more. Some give more of themselves, more time, more energy. They're more involved. Some sacrifice their families, their incomes, their retirement to serve the movement. And we thought it was important that we have special recognition for those people. And so we created something called a challenge coin. For those of you who are in the military or have served, you're familiar with challenge coins. A lot of officers carry them around, give them out on special occasions. So we have a challenge coin. There are only 300 of them were minted. No more will ever be made. On one side is George Mason, the Article 5 founder, the founder of the movement way back in 1787. On the other side is our Convention of States logo. And so these four individuals are being granted their challenge coins today. The greatest honor that I ever have anywhere in the nation in Convention of States is awarding these challenge coins. So it's a great honor to award you all your challenge coins today. God bless you.
Tom Dowdy, our coalition's director. If you've ever done a presentation, seen a presentation, Tom has been all over the state for years, put 140,000 miles plus on his truck, was the voice of the Convention of States for quite a while here until we recruited all you folks to help us out. So you owe a debt of gratitude to Tom. Mike is the man behind the curtain. He's the one who makes some of our really crazy ideas come to fruition. There will be things that we will ask at maybe 11 o'clock at night. Can we get this done? And I will wake up the next morning with a text that says, and it's 4 in the morning, says finished. And he's been up all night doing that. And that's the type of dedication he has here to get things done. Brent is our true social media warrior. Creative ideas that he's still using and nationally are being used. Thank you, Brent.
Yes.
And you rolled out a regional captain idea here, and Angie was kind of the blueprint for how that was done. She has a huge couple of Senate districts, 28 and 31. 28 it has, 52 counties alone, so the geography is just huge. And Angie was, from the get-go, it was obvious, she wrote the book on being a regional captain, so we appreciate these four. We have one other recognition we want to do. You know, our grassroots, they are active and they're also very, very gracious and generous. My co-partner here, my co-director, has probably sacrificed more and her family more than anyone I know. John, and Derek, and Deacon are here.
Yeah, can you guys come up? Come on, John, you too.
The last person Tamara thinks about is herself. And she will say, I'm going to get that done, but I know the last thing on her list is going to be to take care of herself. We're taking care of you. What? Your family's taking care of you here. You're going to Disney World. So with that, I'm going to hand this off to my senator, Senator Brian Birdwell, for some remarks.
Thank you, Paul. I'll make note that Paul said he was recognizing me for some remarks, not a filibuster. Senator's going to be long-winded, so we'll get right to it if I may. Let me ask Dwayne Burns. Dwayne, would you join me up here real quick? Dwayne and I share territory, Johnson and Bosque County, and I need some help making these presentations, if I may, Dwayne.
Sure.
So, you know, the folks that make this happen are y'all. When folks are on the battlefield, if you're going to lead a battle, you want to turn around and see that army behind you.
Yeah.
Y'all are that army. And we very much want to say thank you to y'all by recognizing your leadership. Dwayne, would you take one of those? And Tamara and Paul, if you would join us real quickly here, would you guys get on that side and would y'all get in the middle? What we have here is an actual copy of the SJR signed by Governor Patrick, signed by the Speaker, signed by the Secretary of the Senate, and the Chief Clerk of the House. As a token of appreciation for all that you've done, we very much appreciate what y'all have done for us. Hoorah, God bless y'all. Now I get the distinct privilege, you know, you want to see that army behind you, but you know, you also want to see that B-52 with nuclear weapons at about 30,000 feet. Well, we have that here today. The guy that brings the greatest amount of combat power to this effort is the great governor of the great state of Texas.
Thank you all very much. And welcome to the Texas Governor's Mansion, the People's House. I want to thank Senator Birdwell, Representative Darby, Representative Burns, and all the members of the House and Senate who voted for and supported this. But most of all, I want to thank people like Paul, people like Tamara, people like every single one of you who've been involved in the Convention of States program for all these years. I know how this got passed. It's because of the people who are the grassroots, who wanted this, who needed this, who expressed the importance of this. You're the ones who ensured this got done. Now let's trace the history of what got us to the front porch of the Governor's Mansion today. When did this begin, Robin? It began when the brightest founders of any nation in the history of the world inserted Article 5 into the United States Constitution. It expanded here in the state of Texas. You know, I'm proud that so many of you had the opportunity to tour around inside the Governor's Mansion for the very first time. If you did, you saw hanging on the wall right here, right on the other side of that historical seal, is a picture of Sam Houston. Right up there, that bedroom, just on the other side of that balcony up there, is a Sam Houston bedroom. Sam Houston was the first president of the nation of Texas. He later went on to become a governor of the state of Texas. But the point is this: Texas, from its very beginning, was a nation and a state that believed in liberty more than anything else, that fought and died for that liberty to ensure that it would be safeguarded forevermore. Since that time, that fight for liberty has continued. 2 sessions ago, you all hiked up that hill and got passed out of the Texas House of Representatives a Convention of States plan. In the interim after that, Tamara, is when I gave that speech. I gave the speech expressing and outlining the reason why we needed a Convention of States. Now, for me, this was not an overnight revelation. For me, I learned the reason why we needed a Convention of States because of the time that I spent in the trenches, in pitched battle against the forces of the federal government that had hijacked our nation, had themselves reinterpreted and reapplied the Constitution contrary to the way that it was written.
That's right.
A battle that led to me setting an all-time record that will never be broken, suing Barack Obama 31 times. And that led to a book that some of you brought today that I autographed, a book telling in part my story about those lawsuits, but also telling the story about how the Constitution of the United States of America took a hard left turn a century ago. And the leftists in this country have continued to push the Constitution down a pathway absolutely contrary to the way that it was written and the way that it was intended.
Here, here.
But we know something. We know the first 3 words of the Constitution. And it ensures, Robin, that we the people have the power to restore the Constitution to its original intent. In the aftermath of my speech, I worked side by side with one of the most brilliant lawyers ever to work in the state of Texas. He worked for me in the Attorney General's office. He was the one who was the architect of my 31st lawsuit against Barack Obama, the one that put a stay, an injunction, a stop to Barack Obama's illegal rewriting of the immigration laws in the United States of America. He was the one who helped me research all the way back to the very beginning of Article 5, and he's continued to work with me in the governor's office. He's the man right over here in the coat and tie, Andy Oldham. But here's the key point. To get to the threshold of the governor's mansion today took far more than everything that I've talked about so far. What it took was you. As we went into the session, yes, I declare this to be one of my emergency items for Texas to pass the Convention of States. But it took more than an emergency item. You all saw that even after I declared it to be an emergency item, there were layers of pushback, layered obstacles for us to be able to get this done. And it took an entire army of more than 100,000 Texans who insisted that Texas would take a lead in passing the Convention of States. One thing that I knew whenever I showed up at the Capitol during the course of the session is when the Convention of States people were at the Capitol. I could hear it. I could feel it. I would know it. You made a difference. Your insistence, your perseverance, till the very last moment, ensured that moment occurred moments ago when Senator Birdwell and Representative Burns were up here handing you the joint resolution making Texas the 12th state to ensure that we will support a Convention of States in the United States of America. But for anybody here who thinks this is a victory, let me dispel that notion. If anybody here follows football, this is nothing more than scoring a touchdown in a football game. We can spike the ball for a day and celebrate, but this game is not over. We are still early in the process. We need to take the victory in Texas, the touchdown we have scored here, and continue this across the entire United States of America. And we need your ongoing engagement to ensure that Texas continues being Texas, that Texas continues with its conservative approach to governing our state, and so that we will expand the Texas model of governance across the entire country. So yes, we celebrate today, but tomorrow we go to work. Tomorrow we go to work to make sure that we add the 13th, 14th, 15th, all the way up to the 34th state to be a part of the 50 states of the United States of America. Then we make sure this is done right. And when we do it, we will live up to the aspiration of what Madison and Hamilton and the whole lot of them knew. They knew back in the 1700s, the federal government they created would come unhinged and would transgress the freedoms that they instilled in the Constitution. And they knew there was only one group who could steer the country and the Constitution back onto the right pathway, and that is the people of the United States of America. Once we get that 34th state, it is then our responsibility to ensure that we engage in a process that will steer our country and our Constitution back on the right pathway. When we do that, we will ensure for generations to come that America will remain the best country in the history of this entire world. Thank you for what you've done. God bless you all, and God bless Texas.